on the screen. So we have Akina says, how do we initiate into Vodou? Is it for the chosen ones or can any Black person do it?
First of all, the term initiate, let's get that straight. A lot of
Mhm,
people ask this type of question. Okay. Initiate means to receive the initial information to help you to grow. And so you want to grow into what? Into the knowledge of self. You want to know yourself. All of us are voodoo. All of us have inside of us all the spirits that exist across the cosmos.
mhm,
Whether we structured it into something we call Santeria, or structured it into something we call Obia, or structured it into leukemia, whatever else that we have structured it in. Those of us who have traveled from Africa have taken the Ifa base
mhm,
and we structured it according to our experience, which is normal. But in its essence, it's all the same. So, wherever you are, what you want to do is be into your own spiritual system. If it is generally, you will easily understand if it is our own
mhm,
because it will have a certain respect for all other life form. It will have communication with other life form. It will have the possibility that certain forces that sleeps in us can rise, put our will aside for a short time, and then speak to the others about whatever. For example, if I go back to the earthquake, I've been told about the quake more than 5 years prior to it happening. In various situations, different spirit would announce, we're going to have this big quake, we're going to have this big quake. But more specifically, on January, was it? I don't remember what date, but it was that Sunday. We were told, those of us who were present, we were about 10, 20 people, we
mhm.
were told Tuesday, the earth will shake.
Wow.
My goodness, look at all the Haitians dying. That's what the law said
Wow.
that day. So we all, and he told us also, don't worry, you who are here, all of you will be okay. You will dress a certain way, you will do certain things. They gave us instructions, and you will all be okay.
Mhm,
And that's exactly what happened. So it's just that it's not that you need to come into voodoo because you're not. All of us are into it, whether we call it Ifa or this or Congo. We have many names. Those are cultural elements. But in its essence, who you are is sleeping inside of you. And what you really need to do is work at knowing the true self, which is within.
mhm.
So anytime you into a structure where you're always saying, well, God, are you going to this one? If you're going that way outside, looking for strength, looking for power, looking for whatever you're looking for, there might be a need for correction.
Mm, mm.
But otherwise, if you turn in, waking up the power within by getting to know who you are more and more each day, that's what we need.
Definitely,
So if
definitely.
you're in a situation where voodoo is around, then yes, learn as much as you can. Don't jump in and say, I want to be initiated. Say, I want to know more.
Mm,
And when
mm.
the time is right, you'll do whatever next step.
Lovely. I love what you said about the importance of knowing yourself. And what would you say for someone who's new and they're like, I want to start learning about spirituality, I want to know myself. How would you tell someone, what would be your first recommendation for them to do?
We exist in a body, right?
Mhm,
And according to those who claim to know, they say that we use maybe 1 or 2% of the brain capacities. We have not looked into improving our brain capacity usage. Now, the real power in thinking and in having vision and taking proper decision is in the heart. But they've given us this vision of the heart. The heart just knows how to love. Oh, my heart makes me suffer because I fell in love. Already with this expression, you should already run away from that. How do you want to fall? When are you going to rise to love?
Mhm.
Don't fall in love, you know? So they have really the way they have programmed us, we don't give our heart its proper rank in our life. So, as we come to know self, even the physical self, we need to know. Know your anatomy. No, don't go to the doctor and say, yeah, something is hurting. Be specific. Figure it out before you even speak to someone. Is it the heart? Is it the liver? Is it you know, it's your body. You don't expect the doctor to tell you, you know, what is hurting and where is hurting and why is hurting. No. So be more specific about yourself. Observe yourself. Look at yourself. And that's why we have at Fondation Marie-Claire Rose Félicité Bonheur des Salines, we have what we call every second Saturday of the month, we have Learn to Know Yourself workshop. And sometimes when we travel, we also do it abroad for those who request it. So we do the Learn to Know Yourself workshop so people could become more aware. Uh, you see, for example, we go to the elimination system in our body is very important
Mhm.
because it enables us to know what's going on inside. So after you urinate, most of some people will even be shocked because I'm using the word urinate. Well, that's reality, that's life. We all do it. So after you do, you look at it to know, was it too red, too yellow, too hot, too thick? Because as it comes out, it's telling you something about the body. If it's too red, you're not drinking enough water, and that's going to create problem in your body. If it's too hot, there's this, there's that. Each element tells you about your body. So we should always take the time to see what came out and then take the proper decision. So before you have a fever, your urine is already telling you, hey girl, you're going to get a fever.
Mm.
We don't pay attention. Whereas you could immediately, you feel the warmth of this liquid coming out. You say, 1 liter of water. Let me get rid of whatever it is that's working in there so I don't have to go to the doctor. Let me be my first doctor. So, learning to know our body, to be more attentive to what we do. Does this color? I had 3 accidents. You do? Yeah, I had one in 1920s, one in 2000 this, one in 2000 that. Okay. What color were you wearing on the first accident?
Mhm.
What color were you wearing in the second accident? What color were you wearing on the third accident? Hmm, funny.
That's powerful. Mhm.
There is so much you need to know about you, your physical you. And as you get to know this physical you, you will be surprised how the unseen you will start to become evident for you. So, before anything, start there. Observe yourself. And then, yes, take a few courses on learning to know your physical self, your psychological self, your this self, your that self. Observe what kind of food that you eat, how you work. Do you perform better? Do you accomplish more in the same time when
Mhm.
you've eaten this rather than that? Nobody else can know this but you. So be acquainted to yourself and start working on yourself. Start wanting to do things for the outside, but do what you do for yourself.
Mhm.
See, I'm a very selfish person. I'm not here so that the audience will be happy or Verona will be happy or this or that. No. As I submit myself to this kind of experience, I get to understand what I'm saying better. I get to know more. Your questions will help me to rise to a higher level of understanding if I accept it and respond to it honestly. I will grow from your question. Whether it was a pleasant or unpleasant question, it doesn't matter. Every question is important. And that too is another key you should leave this exchange with. Uh, every time you question, whatever you do, don't question, forget about Bayyinah. That's her problem. But if you're doing anything and you question what you do, how you do it, you will make yourself a better person.
Mm. I love that. I love that. And as you were talking about pay attention to what colors you're wearing when certain things happen to you, all I could think about was in the Ifa tradition where there's certain taboos and you might be told you're not supposed to wear certain colors. So now that you've told me that, I will be paying attention to that now. That's amazing. Thank you for that share. And Nikki has also come say, I just love your teachings and the way you make it so simple to understand. So thank you very much, Mama Bella, for your clarification on that. Um,
Thank you.
um, and yeah, so as we're talking about knowing yourself and paying attention to these tiny differences, that's how we can start to know ourselves more. Talking of subtle changes and things to pay attention to, if we could move on to spiritual communication and how those types of messages may take place, particularly in nature. Do you have any advice for us in terms of when we are going about our day to day life, how we should focus more on what other messages we may be missing out on?
Well, number one, if I can give any advice from my 72 years on this earth, I will say the first step is reconcile with nature. It doesn't matter how tiny the apartment you're living in or the room you're in, put a plant. Have at least one plant. A plant that doesn't need sunshine, a plant that doesn't need a whole lot of care, a plant. And one of the best plants I like to recommend is what is called, I believe the British call it uh, the, the, the mother in law's tongue. It's a sort of cactus. And it's a very powerful plant. It gives off oxygen at night. It's very good for people who suffer from asthma and other respiratory illnesses. But it's a very powerful plant in many, many ways. So you can have that plant, talk to that plant, call it your forest if you want. Give it whatever role, whatever you feel you need in as far as what you need in nature. If you living in a huge building, you're taking a train, you're dealing with all kinds of things that are non-human, non-living on a constant basis, have a plant in your house. Make that plant your friend and ask that plant to provide for you what nature is supposed to. And depending on how you treat it, you'll receive as much as you give. That's a rule of nature. You know, even if you're giving this little cup, and as you give this little cup of water to your plant, and that particular plant don't even need for you to give it more than once or twice a month. Uh, but as you pour the water, you say, I am having the rain for you. See, expect that this thing that you have here that you call mind is a very powerful tool. Concentrate on the things you want to make them happen. Nothing is too big for you to do. The divine lives in you. And that's because through slavery and colonization, they forced us to forget this. and which is why today we are in a state we're in. So as each one make the effort to recoup your true self,
Mhm.
that is, you do have the power to say and what you say to come. You can decide. Next week, I want the prime minister of this particular country to declare. If it doesn't happen next week, continue next week. Doesn't happen that week, continue. And let me know how long it took you to hear what you said come out of the mouth you put it. So stop all the, you see, they have us constantly thinking, talking about all the nonsense, things that don't, all the negativity.
Mm.
So we're ever more and more drowned in negativity. Forget it. Have your own thoughts. Put your own words out there and make a better world for tomorrow. Your power is in you.
Beautiful. Did you say that was a snake plant?
I'm sorry?
What was the name of the plant that you suggested?
It's called the mother in law's tongue, is
Mother-in-law.
what the British call
Hmm.
it.
All right.
Mother in
I'm
law's
gonna.
tongue. It's a sort of tall leaf, a tall cactus type leaf. Uh, it grows under almost any circumstances. It also purifies the air. I am constantly adding them to the yard so that the gas and all the negative stuff coming from the cars and everything. Yes, mother-in-law's tongue. Hmm.
Lovely. So I've put that up for everybody watching. But no, that is beautiful advice. And I remember when I spent time with you, I remember how every morning you would go out into your garden. And to me, that was so beautiful to witness how you embrace nature as part of your daily routine. And it just is a testament to how disconnected we are, because a lot of us don't necessarily, or take pride in going out into our gardens, or as you said, even if it's a small pot plant in your home, it makes all the difference. Yeah, so that's wonderful.
Yes,
People are
ma'am.
saying
And
it's
then we
also
have improved. After we put our flag up, we
yeah.
greet every plant in the garden, every tree, every flower, every insect.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. People saying it's also known as the snake plant. So for anyone looking, a snake plant is another name for that same mother-in-law's tongue. Oops. Someone says,
Wonderful.
can
Thank
you?
you, Jamari Ma. Thank you.
And Tamika Rogers says, can I use aloe instead? I mean, nature is nature.
Aloe does, you can have it as a nature representative. Yes, you can have any plant you want at all. But I chose this particular plant because of the cleansing that it does. It cleans the air. And the second is that it gives off oxygen at night. Those are the two main reasons. So that helps to protect you, especially in these days of diseases, create those created diseases, the imposed mask that is absolutely harmful to our respiratory system. We're going to start hearing a lot of people having lungs problem and whatnot. So it's for all these reasons that I chose that particular plant, because it will help in all of this. And while we talk about this, let me also share with you that everyone should have eucalyptus oil, essential eucalyptus oil. And you should put a little bit of it on the mask that you will be wearing. And you should make sure you take deep breath regularly, but specifically before you put the mask on and after you take it off.
Mhm.
Every time you take it off, breathe, breathe to help the lungs do their job, because the lungs are being damaged with the stuff there.
And whilst we're on this subject, what are your views on what's happening in the world right now?
I'm sorry.
So I said, whilst we're on the subject, what's your views on what's going on in the world right now?
Well, people are making money. And certain people have plans to eliminate others,
Yeah.
but the divine lives in you. You were the first, and you will be the last.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So if anyone has any more questions, please keep them coming through on the chat. Um, this is a random question. I've gone into a different area now, but Joseph Bell is saying, can I use candles on my altar?
Yes, ma'am. Candles good. In fact, a natural light, because you take all the precautions. Always have your candles sit in a bowl of water or something. But not only is it good spiritually, but candle is also very good physically. Keeping a light on all the time, I would even say, in this particular time, is excellent for your health because heat and a lot of things that a flame sends out, as well as whenever you have sun, spending at least 20 minutes in the sun will protect you.
Lovely.
Light in the apartment or keep your apartment dark, even if you have no particular spiritual reason.
Okay.
On.
And also, what was the significance of putting the candle in the water?
For protection against fire.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Okay.
as your candle burn, when it gets to the bottom, if it gets to water, then
Yeah.
on top of
No.
the fact that you once you do this, you also have your entire cosmos in one little. Once you have
Yeah.
fire and water, you have everything.